Welcome to class. This should be a nice little session. This should be a two-part video, and I just kind of want to just get right into it because we got a lot to talk about. This is the video where I'm going to be talking about. Now, it's really not going to be about Mark too much. It's going to be more about me and the difference in my mindset and how I changed and stuff over the past year. So, yeah. And the main point of this, the main lesson that I learned is that I want to keep people out of my relationship. And yeah, this is going to explain why. Plus, like I said in my whole voiceover video, in the last video that I did when I was talking about, I'm thankful for God led guidance. This is why. This is going to be explaining why I do not really want people in my anymore. So yeah, and don't come looking for no mess. No. So let me see. The first thing I kind of want to get into is just how my mentality was in the past. I was very insecure. Let me talk about me for a minute. I was very insecure. I was very much intimidated by other women. I had jealousy issues. What else? I was emotionally vulnerable, mentally vulnerable, weak emotionally, confused, very unstable. I know it's some other things that I could think of. Way too emotional. I got emotional before I thought. And most of the time, I would get emotional and never think. Got plenty of examples of that, but we'll see what comes out of my mouth. I think that's all that I can really think of for now. Before Mark had even came into the picture, my mindset was already, like I said, I was already messed up. I had a moment of feeling. I had a moment of. I never got into the whole when I was like putting my face on shirts thing, but at that time I was very much confident in myself, and there was some things that had happened between the whole wearing the shirt, wearing my face on my shirt thing, and before Mark had came, it was some incidents that kind of had proved to me like it doesn't really matter what kind of a woman that you are. A lot of these men don't seem to care about none of that. They, if a woman look good, she got a little bit of sex appeal to her or whatever. That's what he going. Nothing of like you could have all the qualities of a good wife, of a good woman. Depending on a man, it don't matter. It don't matter. But at the time, I didn't know anything, and I just thought, well, this must be how it is with everybody. So by the time Mark came into the picture, my insecurities was already setting in, and what happened with him with the whole girl situation basically just solidified everything that I already had thought. And if I could go back in time, because this was in the very beginning, so if I could go back in time, we wouldn't even, yeah. So basically, when it comes to people, let me see. Because it's a lot I want to say, but I don't really know. I don't even know where I want to start. I did talk about it in the testimony videos, how it was several times throughout, the course of the 3 years of me and Mark working together, that it was a couple of times where we did want to try starting over. And there were times where he would, try, I would try. I definitely, and I did say it, that I could not commit to it. On top of that, there was always, and I mean always, somebody in my ears encouraging me not to deal with him. And one thing I can say is that I do feel that if he and I were to have made a decision, because I mean, first of all, let's just go ahead and say this. Everything that I'm finna say, it would not have mattered. It would not have made a difference But this is just a lesson to be learned so I don't make any of these mistakes in the future. Every single time, I'm loosening up a little bit. Every single time he and I wanted to try to work things out or just try to start from scratch, let's just try to get it together as basic co-workers. Maybe let's start speaking to each other every now and then. Let's just try to establish some type of, I can't think of the word, regularity or something. I don't know. That's consistency. That's what that's the word I was looking for. Let's develop some type of consistency and basic communication. That So it was always somebody who was coming in my ear and telling me, oh, he's this, he's that, he's just trying to play you, he's just trying to use you, all this other kind of stuff. And I believed it because my mindset was already there. And and this is, when it comes to a woman, at the very least, I can't put myself in a man's shoes. I'm not trying to be in a man's shoes. But I know when it comes to a woman, people ain't never gonna sit over here and come and tell you, oh yeah, that's a good man, and you need to. And again, I'm not saying this about Mark. This is generally speaking. Women typically don't get that. Oh, he's a good man, and make sure you treat him right. This, that, and the third. They'll say people are always so quick to want to throw a man under the bus. Oh, he this, he that. You deserve better, and no. So basically, I just feel that if me and Mark would have wanted to make the decision where, what, we're not compatible, we're not good for each other, I'm not really interested in you anymore, that should have been me and Mark's decision and our decision alone. Not because somebody's trying to see some drama, not because somebody got some little petty feelings about it, not because somebody just trying to get him out the picture or get me out the picture because they wanted one of us, all that kind of stuff. I didn't that should not have happened. And I opened that door. He definitely opened the door. I started trying to close it. He wouldn't really understand, so that was a big problem. And that's one of the reasons why I said I'm glad that he's gone. And then let me tell you, I learned. I said, and I vowed. Let me tell you, I vowed that I don't care how good a man is. I don't care. And with the current guy that I was talking about, that's already pushing the limits, which is another reason why I'm glad I'm going to be getting another job. Wow, I'm not. Well, yeah, moving locations or whatever. But I don't want to deal with nobody on a job ever again. That's a vow. That's a promise. And it's not because I don't care about not seeing, like, if we were interested in each other and things didn't work out, they didn't work out. It's not that big deal. But when you got people that are sitting over here basically trying to use your life as a reality TV show, it's some type of entertainment for them. It's not being petty. It's not none of that. It's just the fact of life. A lot of people, they want to integrate themselves in your business, and I'm not interested in that. Just like I was saying, I was already in a I'm loosening up now. I was already in a very emotionally vulnerable state. I was already extremely hurt. I was already very confused. And I just had people just constantly feeding me all this negativity. And I reflected that. And I'm gonna put it like this. I'm gonna say it like this, but I can't ever say whether or not Mark was a good man or not because I don't know. He did some things that's like, if it would have been another guy, I probably would have got dogged out. I know that for a fact. If it would have been another man, it was some things that Mark did that is just like, yeah, another man probably just would have don't care about my feelings. I'm not talking to him and all that kind of stuff. Why you prioritizing her feelings and stuff? So yeah, can I say he was a good man? No, but I do wish at the time. This was one of my regrets that I would have been more able to appreciate somebody trying as much as he did try. So, and that's why I'm saying, like, I was confused. I had my issues. Forgiving him for something that he may or may not have done was one of my biggest problems. And I remember, like, I talked about the blue book that I threw away. Well, open up a little bit more. When he left, I'm not really gonna get into details about all that because that whole portion will take up too much time. Um, when he left, I was under the impression that he hated me. He didn't want nothing to do with me again, based off of somebody else's lies. And basically, on his last day, because of something that he did, made me realize, oh, maybe he actually did care about me. Maybe my perception was just that messed up that I couldn't see that. I don't know. But anyways, I had journaled at the time. So this was like 2021. This happened in 2023. But yeah, that happened in 2023. But I had been journaling a lot on my laptop in 2021. So I had literally printed out all of my journals. Because at the time, I'm already very emotional. He's gone and everything. And then I'm having like at 1 minute I feel like I made a mistake. I feel regretful. The next minute I'm just like, you know what? Should I even be feeling like this? Because you know how it is. So I went back and I looked at all the stuff that I wrote and I was just like, yeah. I just was like, yeah, I might have been more of the bad guy than what I thought I was. Um, but something I had remember writing, and I also threw all that stuff away because that's just too much junk. I'm already trying to declutter now, but yeah. Anyways, there was something that I had wrote, and it basically said that the only time, like when I'm listening to other people, it was nothing but confusion. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. I don't know what the truth is. I can't think properly with all these people trying to persuade me to go here, go to do this, don't do that. And I said the only time I had felt some type of peace and real guidance was when I talked to God about it. So for instance, something that I said around that time was, and I didn't, just like it's obvious that I'm learning things now and it's like sticking with me. Yeah, nothing stuck with me at that time. It was all emotionally driven. So it was something that I said, well, it was basically like talking to God. I came to the understanding that I had needed to forgive Mark. And it's like, when we weren't talking, I missed him and I want this and I want that. And it's just like you asking for something that you're not even really ready for. And before I even try to sit over here and try to be friends and all that, I need to work on forgiving him. If I can't forgive him, just let it go. But again, yeah, that didn't resonate long at all. So let me see. I just said a lot then. But oh yeah. Let me get a little sip. Something that had really a tough lesson that I learned about people during that time is, like I said, I was already extremely. I already did the little list. I was emotionally vulnerable. I was emotionally weak. There were some people that sat over here, and I don't have no ill will towards nobody. I don't have no hatred in my heart for nobody because it's never that serious. It was some people though that lied to me intentionally because they had their own motives. There were some people who would have really preferred for me to go out and go have a one night stand with somebody who wouldn't even know how to properly pronounce my name over trying to work things out with Mark because I guess they just felt like it was just so funny what was going on. I don't know. I don't care. Um, People took things as a joke. People took things to be funny. People took things for their own entertainment. People had no issue hurting me to get their own will over. And considering how messed up I already was, when I tell you what they say, I throw a person as far as I could trust a person as far as I could throw them. I can't throw nobody. I ain't saying that I don't have trust towards people, but once you, especially like Mark was not the only contributing factor to me going crazy for the whole hair changes, me having to regrow my hair and everything. Mark was not the only person. I only talk about Mark, but everybody that has something to say, I don't want to say everybody, But oh, it's a whole lot of people that were lined up in participation of killing me, basically. So, with that being said, the lessons that I learned is, like I said, I don't want nobody in my business. No more. No more. One of the reasons why, like I said, dating on the job, you don't get too much privacy. It's always gonna be somebody, and this is just whatever job. Everybody complains about it. That's why everybody say don't poo where you eat. Which I'm not trying to do all that, because sometimes you can't really find love and everything. But if me and whoever I'm in a relationship with, if we having issues, it needs to stay between me and that man. It don't need to be everybody's business. It's some people who, let's take Mark, or let's just take, let's not Mark. Let's just take, for instance, let's say I'm dating somebody on a job. And let's say it's a day where we're not really talking to each other as much or whatever. You might have somebody that'll come and say, and this is just generally speaking, you will have somebody who will be like, oh, so what's going on? Y'all didn't got into it, whatever. Oh, me, I wouldn't even say oh, because sometimes I gotta check myself even now. You can end up telling them, you know what, yeah, because he this and he that and he did this and he didn't do that. Go to that person, they asking him, what's going on with y'all. I know that y'all ain't really talking so much, what happened, trying to come like they're a friend. Though the stuff that I know now, the way that I want my stuff to happen now, if we could have the most heated argument that day. When it come to other people, we both need to be saying we're good. That's all they need to know. We're good, we're fine, don't worry about it. And I'm not saying it like in a negative way. It's just I learned that if you give people, a lot of people want to draw wedges, and if you sit over here and you let somebody know, oh, we have an issue, like for instance, insecurity. At the time when it came to Mark, insecure about women, and I mean just in general, I was insecure. So if we would have tried to work things out, it would have always been, oh, I heard that he's trying to talk to this girl, and I seen him with this woman and this, that, and it would have been all this constantly. Just like, for instance, communication was an issue between me and him. That was something that people was exploiting. They could come to me and tell me something. Oh, and then I was, like I said, I was very emotionally vulnerable, very emotionally weak. I would get emotional. Somebody would tell me something, I believe it. Now I'm all upset. And I never took the time to question some things, because if I would have took the time to just think about some things, I would have been able to be like, oh, I'm being lied to. So that's something that I had realized later on in life. Well, later on down the line. But yeah, I said a lot so far. So let me look at the note cards. Which I said this already. But like the regrets, I said I wish I would have been, more comfortable, more able to appreciate his efforts instead of constantly being negative and waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's something that I did kind of mention in the growth and maturity video. How I'm able to actually be happy. Like if something happens, allow myself to be happy. Don't be like, oh well, no, he's gonna, just be happy. Oh yeah. Then what I wrote was, holding on to hatred is an invitation for evil spirits. I prefer to be happy and not dwell on negative things for too long. Some people encourage negativity and to stay in a hateful, petty, and spiteful state of mind. And child, is that true? Yes. I experienced that for myself. It's a sermon where my pastor was talking about how uh he talks about like the devil and stuff. And it was this one sermon where he was saying that, like, for instance, if you are normally a very peaceful, quiet, kind person, and sudden, I'm not gonna say suddenly, but then your personality changes so bad that now you cursing people out like I was doing, and all that stuff. You being hateful, you being spiteful, you got jealousy and stuff, and you know that that's not you. You need to question who it is. And yeah, that's something I experienced firsthand. A lot of people, they sit over here and encourage you to be hateful, to be mean, to stay in this, just like I wrote down, to stay in this hateful state of mind, and that's not a place that I ever want to be in for real. When it comes to my relationship, something that I had thought about when I was going through the whole incubation period was I never want I don't want to say never because I feel like never is not realistic. But I don't want if somebody makes a mistake again because obviously I was hurt and I just wanted to run away. I don't really have a runner's mentality anymore. I want to sit there and I want to work it out. I get mad, I get hurt again, and I'm not talking about like a little, oh, he hurt my feelings because of the way that he spoke to me or something, that little crazy stuff. I'm talking about like I'm really hurt. I don't want that hurt to have more value over the person that I supposedly care about, the person that I supposedly love. When you try to confide in people, it's always gonna be, it's like I say, especially when it comes to women, well, you deserve this and you deserve that, and if you're not happy, you need to go find this. I don't want all that. And one thing I said was like, no matter how hurt I get, I never, like, if I got a good man and I know that he's a good man, my feelings, how hurt I am, whatever I'm feeling, should not. I don't ever want to get complacent and be like, oh, I don't ever want to forget that I got a good man. Forget your feelings, forget how hurt you are. You got a good man. Suck it up. That's how I want to be. And don't give me a reason to be in that state, especially for too long. And that's another thing. I also know now that, let me see, because I want to say exactly what I wrote down. Hold on. I think I wrote it. I said this one. Yeah. Yeah, so basically what I wrote down is that both people need to be on the same page with making mistakes and forgiveness. It's easy to do wrong and it's hard to sincerely apologize. And if you don't want to deal with the consequences of your actions, don't do it. So a lot of people, let me see. Because I was thinking about this earlier. I learned that I hurt Mark several times. I'm not going to really get into details because that's not what we're here for. But I know for a fact I hurt that man. And I said that I probably would never really understand because I don't know how much he cared about me. I would probably never be able to know how much I hurt him. Apology don't really matter and stuff. I would say that I took him for granted, which we weren't compatible, and that's just the bottom line. We weren't compatible. Nothing would have changed that. But what did I want to say? A lot of people, like I was saying earlier, a lot of people have this just give up and run away kind of thing. So basically, I could give an example easier than what I want to say. So let's just say, for instance, cheating is a common thing in relationships. So let's say, for instance, a man cheats on a woman. Listen to what I'm saying. Let's say that a man cheats on a woman. Let's say it was simply because he couldn't control his lust. He did something stupid. He might have told the wife about it. She might have found out in another way. She's not going to be giving it up nearly as much as she was in the past. So now this man now has to deal with a woman that is broken, that is hurt, that is now insecure, and now he's not getting treated the way that he wants to be treated. His needs are not getting met. And you got a lot of people who would rather say, well, you know what? I don't want to deal with the problems that I caused this person. I'd rather just give up and go find somebody else. I don't want nobody like that. I don't want to be like that. I don't want nobody like that. If you hurt me, you need to know how to fix it, basically. If I hurt somebody, I need to know how to fix it. It don't matter how long it takes, because don't expect for the changes to happen overnight. Don't expect to be forgiven overnight. If you need to put in the work, if you need to go without, then I'm not just talking sexually, if your needs not gonna be met and stuff, that's just something that you gotta deal with. And yeah, I was about to say something, but I forgot. So yeah, and I don't know. That might be the end of part one. Because it seemed like I basically said everything that I chose for this one. Oh, I didn't say this. I did say heightened emotions. One of my regrets was during the heightened emotions of him leaving, I felt that putting myself first was a mistake. It's easy to believe that staying away is the right choice when a person is dogging you out or they just simply don't want you. It was never really the case like that with Mark, and I felt like I could have had somebody who really cared about me. So, yeah, that was definitely something I dealt with. At the time, I didn't really know why I was choosing it. I don't like that. I, I didn't really understand why I was making the decisions that I was making. I didn't understand why I didn't really want to deal with him and that kind of stuff. But like I was saying, I really don't want people in my business. It's a work related situation. From the very beginning, it seemed like I had to work. I'm not gonna say it seemed. From the very beginning, I was shown that another woman could walk in and threaten my relationship. I don't want to have to deal with that, especially if I gotta work right next to that person. I don't have time. We trying to do the work, and oh, what S and that? Well, she been crying in the bathroom for the past 20 minutes. I'm clocking out early because I'm all emotional. I ain't got time for it. So, and when Mark was not really capable of, explaining things or just, I'm sorry, or, I don't know. He didn't say nothing. He just want to sweep it under the rug, forget about it. Let's just try to move on without ever having any kind of conversation. That was not finna fly with me at all. And on one hand, I regretted it because I felt like, he was trying and he tried way more than he should have. He tried for way longer than he should have. And I really wish on one hand I would have been able to appreciate that. But then it's like at the same time, you really can't give me what I need. And that's not really my problem. And then something else I was thinking about earlier was change. Change, he had complaints about me, just like I had complaints about him. And one, obviously it was like, I needed to, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to stop doing this, and you need to be more patient with this, and all those different things. And I would say at the time, I did feel like somebody telling me that I needed to change was basically them saying, "Oh, that you're not good enough as you are. That you're basically not good enough as you are." But I can say that obviously it was a whole lot of changes that needed to be made, and yeah. Um, my mind is kind of going blank now. It was a lot of changes that needed to be made. But the thing is, it's a difference between changing and developing into the person that I was supposed to be, the person that I'm meant to be, versus changing and developing to try to keep a man in my life. Because the person that I am today and the person that I would have had to be to have some type of relationship with him, we are completely different people. And I prefer to be this, not that. A lesson that I wrote down, which I might not have to do two parts, takes more than just being a good person. It takes more than somebody who cares about you liking each other to be compatible. And yes, that's true. That's like the bottom of the thing. Oh yeah, and then just like I was saying, I needed guidance and direction. I was looking for it in the wrong places. People were the wrong place. I had all, like I said, all these issues that I had and stuff. Just like, for instance, I didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel like I was cute and stuff, which, I mean, dying my hell in different times to the point that I had to cut it off. Yeah, I had issues. A person could have told me all day, all night, Essen, you're pretty, you're beautiful, your hair is fine, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. That would have made a difference. If I look in the mirror and I feel like I'm not beautiful, What you think you telling me go do? My phone cut off again. But anyways, I'm gonna have to start recording with my other phone. But let me see. The last thing I really want to say, which is not gonna be a part two, because I'll talk about lessons later on. But yeah, this only gonna be one part. But basically, I wanted to give an example of what I mean when I say like people not really capable of handling issues for real. So like, let's say for instance, like I was saying, and I had read one of the things before where I was basically saying that God needs to be your source of solidification because a man simply just cannot do it. So just like for instance, feeling like I wasn't good enough, feeling like I'm not beautiful enough and all that, feeling like my worth is placed on, because that's what they teach us. Feeling like my worth is based on my looks and all the other kind of stuff, which it ain't like I'm ugly, but still. What was I gonna say? Because I don't know how much time I got. But basically, if I, for instance, when it came to Mark, or let's just say anybody, if I sit over here and I go to a man and I'm like, oh, I need him to fill up my cup every single day, telling me I'm beautiful, I'm this, that, and the third to get it through my day. Any single time I come across a woman that I feel like looks better than me, body might be better than me. If you're skinny, you got a lot of women that's skinny, they want to be thick. You got a lot of women that's thick that want to be skinny. You could have everything, you still feel like it's not good enough because you see it on somebody else. This is just basic life problems. So every time I get insecure about something or I'm intimidated by this, I'm gonna go to him. Or I ain't got time for that. But let's just say that's how it was. So every single time I need something, I gotta go to that man to fill me up in this, that, and the third. I need him to say every single day that he loved me. I need him to say that he ain't doing this. I need him to prove himself every single day. It's gonna be real hard to find somebody that's gonna do that. Because no. So something that I was thinking about not too long ago, because it's been a whole lot of natural disasters. Flooding in some areas. Hurricane Burrow, whatever her name was, however you pronounce it. She did a lot of damage. And I was just thinking, like I was saying, they teach us that basically our worth as women is based on how sexy we are, how cute we are, and our bedroom performance. And I was just like, imagine if you were somebody and a tornado happened, a hurricane happened, and y'all just lost everything. A man, a decent man, not finna be sitting over there looking at his house in ruins and just be looking at you and say, you know what, I'm just so thankful. I'm just so thankful. You're just so beautiful. I'm so happy, that you were able to do all these things in the bedroom. Ain't no sensible man even need to be thinking about none of that. So I was just thinking, like, for this situation, if I'm in that kind of predicament, I'm in a relationship, we just lost everything, and I'm just like, oh, I need him to I need him to tell me that I'm beautiful, this and third. A man probably would say, shut up. You probably would say, girl, get out of my face. This ain't the time. Ain't nobody trying to hear all of that. And that's real. So now, at that time, you'll be looked at more as what they say, a liability more than an asset. We don't have nowhere to sleep. We done lost everything. Don't even have a decent clothes to wear. And you sitting over here asking for some kind of validation. Go sit down and get out of my face. So, then like if you go run to a person, if I was to go run to somebody and be like, yeah, I just needed him to say this, that, and the third, and he cursed me out, or he said this and that, somebody would say, well, Esther, you know what, you deserve better than that, and you see what I'm saying? But yeah, um, that is still a whole lot more lessons that I really want to talk about, but that's just what we go in the video today. So yeah.